last chapter of 2017 for One Piece, although technically, officially, it should be the first chapter of 2018, but scans come out early. You know the drill. And we start off with this magnificent color spread depicting a representation of the Chinese zodiac. I really like a lot of these choices that Oda made for the representation of each of these animals. Obviously, Inuarashi is the year of the dog, which is the year that we're supposed to enter in 2018. Marco is the rooster, which is the year that we're about to leave, 2017. Salome and Boa Hancock, snake. Khalifa, is it Khalifa or Khalifa? Whatever. She's the sheep. You know, the CP9 agent is the sheep. The Minotauros from Impel Down is the ox. Luffy, obviously, the monkey. Carrot, the rabbit. Fujitora represents the tiger. Cavendish and his horse. Obviously, the year of the horse. Manchuri is the rat. Momonosuke is the dragon. And Big Mom herself is the pig. So pretty good choices overall here. Hopefully, Oda decides to do a color spread like this, but for the Western Zodiac at one point, because I was thinking of how cool it would be once he gets introduced. Like Green Bull could be Taurus or something like that. And Jinbe could be like Pisces, even though I think he's in Aries, but you get my drift. Another thing that I would say from this color page, though, even though it's great, if I had to change one thing, I would just substitute Momonosuke for Dragon. But that's just me inserting my personal bias in there because I was born in the year of the dragon. Anyway, I have to be honest and say that from a story progression standpoint, the chapter is actually pretty simple from that aspect. However, the teamwork and the coordination is excellent. Some of the best we've had. It's a very well coordinated, choreographed effort to try and stall for time from the Straw Hats. And I think the reason for why this needed to happen now is because Oda wanted to remind the readers of how well Jinbe fits as a team player within the crew, but also to give some of the rest of these characters some well-deserved shine. And I have to be honest, I was actually surprised at how much Oda allowed Big Mom to damage the Sunny. I mean, she was tearing the cabin apart, the sails were burning up, and there's a lot of really good art in some of these pages which depict the menace of Big Mom as the Yonko that she is. There's this one panel that really stood out to me where she's literally like opening up the cabin, like she's opening up like someone's mouth, just like ripping it apart where Carrot is sleeping, and it just looks beautiful. There's so much detail in that destruction panel of the cabin. And as I mentioned in my last review, the whole thing about Pedospedo lying to Big Mom about the Straw Hats having another wedding cake just came back, and it's gonna come back to bite him, as you can tell from this chapter, because Big Mom did not forget, and she's like, where's the cake? My son wouldn't lie to me. And so that actually got me thinking about the fact that maybe the reason for why Oda introduced that plot point is that if Sanji comes in with the cake and gives Big Mom the cake, Big Mom won't kill Pedospedo, and Pedospedo may feel like grateful, or maybe like a hint of gratitude towards the Straw Hats. So maybe that's Oda's way of setting it up so that Pedospedo is kind of forced to return a favor to the Straw Hats before the end of the arc. And because this is an action chapter, it wouldn't be complete without feats, which we do get, quite a few actually. And so the main question I think that this chapter may leave a lot of people with is, do these feats make sense? Are they credible feats? So let's go through them. Jinbe uses his own armament haki to attempt to block a slash from a Napoleon that has been lit aflame. This is not the first time that we've seen Jinbe use armament haki. I believe we saw him use color of arms back at the wedding. The attack from Big Mom is called Cognac, and at first it seems like Jinbe with armament haki is capable of stopping it. If you look at the art in that panel, it doesn't seem as if the attack coming from Big Mom is haki embedded, because I didn't see any sparks, any of those black haki sparks. Unless you saw something else in those panels, please let me know, because I really do think that whether or not the attack is haki embedded is going to be the definitive factor. I'll repeat myself here and say that I don't think it is. I don't think Cognac has haki, because if it does, and Jinbe was able to stop it, even for a moment, which he did, that seems a little bit too OP, considering the fact that we saw Gear 4th Luffy using armament haki to clash with Big Mom's armament haki, and you guys remember how that turned out. Now, the fact that he was initially able to block the slash, okay, I think makes perfect sense, because if you remember, Jinbe, pre-time skip Jinbe, was capable of blocking a direct hit, a direct punch from Akainu. And then later on, when Jinbe uses Vagabond Drill to punch Big Mom and get her out of the Sunny, I think it's just important to remember that is a Fishman karate technique, and as with every Fishman karate technique, it actually uses the water inside of the body of the opponent against the opponent. So in that instance, like let's say that Big Mom had used armament hockey to shield herself, to shield her stomach from the karate attack. I'm not even sure if that would have worked because Jinbe is like manipulating the water inside of her. And here's the thing, at first it didn't seem like he punched her very far away. And now that I've read the chapter again, I think it definitely gets a little bit tricky. And I could definitely see some people complaining, like people telling me like, why are you damage controlling the chapter? There's no way these characters should be able to do what they did to Big Mom. But I'm really trying to be fair here. And then there's people that are going to be like, oh no, all of this makes sense. And I guess it's because chapters like these end up sort of like directly confronting our ideas of what a Yonko should be, or our expectations for Yonko. The Yonko hype, essentially. So you kind of end up with two camps in a way. The first camp is like the people that want to hype up the Straw Hats and, you know, really want to cheer on the main characters, and the other one is just like this is a Yonko we're talking about. Like, you know, this is the power of the Yonko, and we want to make sure that it's consistent with what we believe. My question right now is like, do you think Big Mom is actually getting weaker? Because I mean, the chapter made a point to state that she was actually starving. So if that's the case, is she getting weaker? And if that's the case, what does that mean for like Big Mom moving forward and her potential fight with Luffy? So for the purposes of this review, I'm just going to throw some stuff out there, and you let me know what you think. So first and foremost, how strong is Chopper's guard point that it could literally tank an attack from a Yonko? I know it's casual, like she's not hockeyed up or anything. It's like she's literally just going like this. But Chopper, guard point Chopper, tanked an attack from a Yonko. All right, and this is the woman who at 5 years old was capable of casually one-shotting a bear. That's a defensive feat for Chopper. Also, before that, Nami and Chopper were also capable of dodging a slash from Napoleon. And I do remember that at one point, I think they snuck into Big Mom's bedroom, or at least they were trying to sneak in to get Brooke back. And there was some dodging, they were dodging some of her hits there as well, even though she was asleep. But regardless, they dodged Napoleon in this chapter. Brooke took an attack from Zeus, which at first I thought was shocking because I thought it was actually Nami getting electrocuted. And we've never seen her get electrocuted, so I was like, oh my gosh, like is Oda really doing this? Turns out it's Brooke, and because he has no flesh, no harm done, so he pretty much tanks the lightning. So in a way, it's kind of like Brooke has the same immunity to lightning that Luffy has. Brooke blitzing and cutting Zeus from an elemental standpoint makes perfect sense because Brooke uses ice. So what he does is that he cuts the cloud in half, and because it's a cloud, he freezes the cut, and that's what happens to Zeus. Kind of goes back to what Jinbe did when he was using the water from the sea to hit Prometheus, and Prometheus kind of shrunk a little bit, so it's the same concept. The clash of elements is all over this chapter, which is a cool reference to Big Mom's Jolly Roger. Also, if I recall correctly, Brooke was capable of injuring Prometheus back when they were fighting in the trophy room with the poneglyphs. And I don't need to say this, but Brooke has been an absolute boss throughout the entirety of this arc. He has two pretty epic line deliveries in this chapter. The first one is his classic request to see somebody else's panties. In this case, it's Big Mom's. And then the second one, and this is the one that I really liked because it just served to sort of like highlight the epicness of his slash, is Zeus. I hate to break it to you, but we were aiming for you from the very start. Nami then forces Zeus to discharge, electrocuting Big Mom. We've seen that happen before. In the forest, she got electrocuted. In terms of damage being dealt, it's not a whole lot of that going on. It's a very minor inconvenience for Big Mom. If you didn't like when it happened the first time, I don't think you'll like it this time, but it happened. It also ends up shrinking Zeus down to the point where Nami once again reintroduces her offer for him to want to become her slave. So let me ask you this. Do you think that Nami will be leaving Whole Cake Island with Zeus as her Pokemon companion? Like, I guess what I'm asking is, do you think that Zeus is Nami's power-up from Whole Cake Island, and that she will forever have Zeus? Or do you think that she's just going to use him during this arc, and then he'll eventually return back to Big Mom? How would you feel about those two scenarios? Because when this happened the first time, when Nami was able to control Zeus, a lot of people were upset. And so my question to you is, do you think like this chapter was a little bit too plot convenient, or did you appreciate the action much more than the plot convenience? Because to be fair, like I feel like there's always been moments in which the Straw Hats end up escaping a situation that they shouldn't be able to escape. But I think the reason for why people have become a little bit more critical in the present is because this is a Yonko's territory, So the stakes should be a lot higher, and perhaps maybe the consequences should be a lot harsher, given that, you know, this is the Yonko saga. That being said, though, it's not deviating from the norm of what One Piece has been in the past. In fact, I was just thinking about this the other day, where, you know how in Dressrosa we had the birdcage, like this thing that was closing in on people and was like threatening to, you know, just destroy everybody and stuff, and Luffy had to defeat Doflamingo in time to save everybody or whatever. Well, in Whole Cake Island, a starving, raging Big Mom is the birdcage, you know, because she's a threat, and then people have to stall her out while Luffy defeats Katakuri, and while Sanji comes in with the cake. So it's a similar concept, but if nothing else, I would gladly take a skinny Big Mom any day of the week over a birdcage closing in on Tontada, because Big Mom is fun. This chapter was fun, and there's still a lot of other characters and plot points that Oda has set up that need to be addressed and resolved before the ending of the arc. So I can't wait to get to that as well. I want to know what happened to Pound. I want to see more Luffy versus Katakuri, obviously. And I really want Sanji to get his fight. Hopefully he gets his fight and he activates a new mode, something new that we haven't seen before. That's what I'm hoping for 2018. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for supporting me all this time. I really appreciate your thumbs up. If you decide to subscribe, that's great too. Leave me your comments down below. Have a great New Year, guys. I hope you had a really good Christmas. And in the spirit of One Piece, which at its core is about courage, family, adventure, and dreams, I really hope that if 2017 wasn't your best year, if you thought it was just kind of meh, or if you thought it was flat out horrible, I really hope that 2018 helps you get closer to what it is you want. Happy New Year. Thank you so much. Catch you guys later. Bye.